Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Fatman and Robyn podcast. My name is Marcus Stevens, represented as the Fatman. Your turn.
You know, if you smacked yourself in the face, it would have been all right. Harder.
I guess that's all I'm gonna get.
I'm Robyn.
Hurt myself. And we're back. So 2020. We're still talking about it. It is part 2 of our obituary to 2020. Last time we talked about coronavirus, talked about the Black Lives Matter protests. We talked about the threat of World War III, the Australian fires, and Zoom taking over everybody's lives. And
Taking over for the 99 and 2000.
The grandma's lives and everybody's school. And now we're going to talk about other things that happened in 2020. And I'm ready. So you just want to get right into it?
Let's go.
Tiger King!
Beat around no bush.
Tiger effing King. The biggest success story of 2020 besides
the surprise success.
Besides coronavirus. We had a lot of money. So Tiger King was released on March 20th, 2020, which was 9 days after COVID-19 got declared a pandemic, and just days before a lot of states in the U.S. started declaring lockdowns, stay-at-home orders, all that jazz. The show was watched by 34.3 million people over the first 10 days of its release.
Wow.
And again, obviously, a lot of that success has to be attributed, I know, to who's doing fireworks at 3:30 in the afternoon. You can't even see them. But you can attribute a lot. It has to be 100% attributed, a lot of the success to people staying at home, word of mouth through social media, people having nothing else to do. There's still
nothing else to do.
Go watch Tiger King. It's just... a lot of people are just stuck. So it's like, what do I watch? Let me watch this show everybody in the world is freaking talking about. So I think that really helped out. And obviously it is a great show. It's a great... After the first episode, like, it doesn't hook you.
Yeah.
I don't know what your interests are.
Yeah.
I feel like the first episode really just was like, it gets scratched you by the reins, doesn't let you go.
It gets you because it makes you think that at some point there's going to be a good guy or like a hero. Yeah, there's not.
Nobody's good.
Everyone's awful.
They're all exploiting.
Exactly. The only thing that's good about the Tiger King is the tigers.
Yeah.
The poor tigers.
Everybody's kind of...
They start off, oh, poor tiger, and then it's like, this man had 7 wives, and she killed her husband, and the other guy tried to kill her, so now he's in jail. What happened to the tigers? Are the tigers okay?
It's a murder mystery.
For the ages.
And I think the best part of the show was when the one guy was in the bathtub and they were filming him, and nobody questioned it. It just I still have questions about that moment. Who said it was okay for my man to get buck naked?
He did.
And said, "Hey, you want to just film me in the bathtub?" Like who brought that up?
It probably wasn't like that. It's probably like, look, if y'all gonna be here on my property and my trail, you're gonna have to do this from the bathroom because I need to take a bath.
I'm really mad at the accuracy of that statement because that's probably exactly how the conversation went. I'm really upset. Just ruin all the intrigue of it, huh? So after that, Netflix then reported in July 2020 that it was viewed by 64 million households over its first month of release. That is a lot of people, and again, that's like the first month of its release is like the height of things changing for I guess the worst. Yeah. So they basically from March 20th to April 19th. That's the 30 days right there.
I feel like this is the biggest movie of 2020. Like, forget Trolls, forget Tenet. This
smashed
Tiger King.
This smashed everything. Again, it was legit everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. You couldn't go on social media without seeing it. Or it's on Yahoo. Like I was just going on there. It's just like Tiger King. Have you seen it yet?
Mm-hmm. What is Tiger King? Who is Joe Exotic?
Right. And it's just like I don't know, but I'm gonna find out.
Did Carol Baskin really kill her husband?
Yeah, exactly. Hey.
How many conspiracy theorists are there now about Carol Baskin?
Of course, there has to be some God. It was so popular that it got a special on April 12th, where Joe McHale of the Soup fame and Community interviewed several of the stars of the show. That's first of all, they released a special 3 weeks after the show came out, just to show you that Netflix was like, yeah, we got a hit. Let's exploit it to all hell. And I don't blame Netflix. You gotta make
what they do.
You gotta make your money, and especially during a pandemic year, you gotta get paid. So because of the success of Tiger King, that just radiated throughout the whole freaking Hollywood industry. So the success of Tiger King caused many different works to be based on it to be announced. A limited series for NBC, Peacock, and USA Network. That whole NBC Universal, yep, is in development with Kate McKinnon to portray Carol Baskin. I think it's going to be based off of some murder podcasts or something like that. I don't 100% all know the details.
Okay.
But she's going to be in it, and she's going to produce it as well.
Okay.
There were 2 series that premiered in September 2020 on Investigation Discovery. They were both talking about Joe Exotic, and then one was talking about Carol Baskin, her husband, blah blah. The ID channel's like the old court TV and Forensic Files and all that kind of stuff. So
are you explaining it to me or to them?
Both.
I know what ID channel is.
Do you watch it?
When the lady who used to do my hair, it was on all the time. So yes.
I know it by association.
Yeah, that. I indirectly know it. Is that it?
That's good.
Okay.
Ryan Murphy of American Horror Story fame. He also produces a lot of different shows that are showrunner.
Pose.
Ratchet. With
yes. Anybody with Sarah Paulson and the boy, that guy who plays Quicksilver in it, probably Ryan Murphy.
Yeah, it's probably him. Yeah. So he's in talks to produce a film or a limited series for Netflix on Tiger King. I guess Netflix doesn't know what they want to do just yet, but they have a limited money, so they can do what they want. Yeah. And this has Rob Lowe attached to star as Joe Exotic. I'm a little interested in that. I think
Rob Lowe's really pretty.
He's a little too pretty. Yeah. But I think it make up for anything.
They gotta ugly him up.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Sorry.
And then finally, Nicolas Cage has this is my favorite one. Has been cast to portray Joe Exotic in an Amazon Prime Video 8-episode series with Dave Lagana of American Vandal fame to write, executive produce, and be the showrunner. Very excited for this. This is the one I'm most excited for, not just because obviously Nicolas Cage Joe Exotic is like the perfect it's the role that he was made to play. Like he was born on this earth to play Joe Exotic. That was it. That's it. You can retire after that. I don't need no National Treasure 3 or the series.
Really?
He doesn't play Joe Exotic because that's it. He needs to play it. But also Dave Lagana, I really enjoyed American Vandal, and nobody really talks about it on Netflix. Obviously because it's only been 2 seasons. But it was a good documentary, mockumentary series of have you ever seen anything or know of it?
I know of it.
It's so good.
I remember you were watching and you were like hella obsessed.
It was crazy. Like I was just like I remember watching it. I had plans that night. I was gonna watch it, and then while I was eating dinner, one episode. Ended up watching all the way to season 2.
Are you serious? How many episodes?
I think it was 6 or 7 episodes. 6, 7, 8.
That's still a lot.
It was a lot.
An hour?
You know how sometimes this one's an hour and this one's 36 minutes. Who got what happened? Why? I don't understand that with streaming. When one episode is so freaking long, and the next one's just we actually put all our budget in that episode. So no.
There were supposed to be 2 episodes, but we couldn't just let this episode go off like that. So.
But yeah, I just got American Vandal on a Friday, and I finished both seasons by that Saturday.
Are you laughing because you're proud of this, or
because I'm thinking back to it? What was I thinking? Because I wanted to play the game because I think I had a new game at the time as well. But that's just I know it was that deep.
You don't do that.
I don't.
So good.
So I'm looking forward to this to see what his kind of series is. I liked his direction on American Vandal. It's such a juvenile it's not juvenile in the sense that it's the comedy. It's juvenile in the sense the premise is these 2 guys are in high school and they're trying to figure out somebody drew a dick or something like that.
Why do you say it so hard?
Dick.
Say it so hard.
Penis.
Though. Penis is fine.
Dick's a funnier word.
Yeah, but
Tricky
you said it so hard.
Dick.
What is the matter with you?
All right. So he drew a phallical penis.
You can just say penis.
This penis?
That's redundant.
It's phallic?
Yeah.
Okay. He drew a penis on somewhere, and they tried to figure out who's the penis drawer. And then somebody took a dump in the next season. It was this really stupid stuff, but the way they handled it was very mature and in a documentary series. Regardless, I'm looking forward to that the most of all the Tiger King
I
stuff.
can tell because the way you like worded it here. Dan Lagana of American Vandal fame to write, executive produce, and be a showrunner.
I just said thing for Ryan Murphy.
No, but it's just the way.
It was
no,
more.
yeah.
And then of course we know Carol Baskin was on the fall winter season of Dancing with the Stars. Did you finish that season yet?
It's way over.
No. Have you finished it?
Oh yeah.
Who won that season?
Somebody, Chris Setz. I don't even effing know. She shouldn't have won. Sorry. The catfish guy should have won. If it wasn't going to be Nelly or Justina, who I voted for, it should have been the catfish guy, and because he was like the best dancer out of everybody.
Wow.
You wouldn't even expect him to be a dancer, and he was like the best dancer.
Hot take.
Sorry. Anyway.
But yeah, that's Tiger King in 2020, and again, like the amount of memes, the amount of this like
Green Arrow's ex-wife, not Amel, the original from Smallville. That guy. Do you see his face? I see his face.
I never watched Smallville, so I know. Can we just do the first bar of the
How am I supposed to get through?
Can we just do the first bar of the chorus?
How am I supposed to get through? How can I get through this?
What do you mean? Somebody save me. That's such a. I remember just like watching CW or remember UPN, wherever it was on. Was it on UPN ever?
WB and then CW.
Welcome to the WB versus Frog. The CW. I remember sometimes just have like flicking through it and the theme song come on.
Somebody save me.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Tiger King, fantastic show.
Mm-hmm.
We binged it pretty quickly. I think it was like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, no time at all.
But again, we were in the house, so I think we started like on a Saturday night before church, and then
Did
we watched like 2 episodes. Yeah,
I thought we started during the daytime.
Saturday night. It was hot.
You're right. It's not my job.
Yeah, Saturday night, and of course we were starting church a little later, so we said let's watch 2 episodes. And you were falling asleep. So we.
But I still liked it.
Yeah, it doesn't. You're tired. So we watched those, and like I said, we were hoping. I think we finished that Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
So fantastic series. Watch again. We recommend. Just based on the insanity of it, it's just it's like, what else can happen of this? What else can happen of this? And it's just the
It can't get no worse, but it did.
Yeah. But wait, there's more. So yeah, Tiger King was a big news story in 2020. All right, the next thing I want to talk about, which is really no regards of anything, but Elon Musk and Grimes. I just think that
Go on.
Once they announced their child's name, I was just like, huh? It's not.
And you have like a certain disdain for Elon Musk, don't you?
Because he thinks he's a hero, but he's really a villain. Can you name some people who made money this year or in 2020? Elon Musk and
Jeff
Bezos are two of the top ones.
CEO of Zoom.
Yeah. So you're right. I've read it.
The Facebook guy. He is forever making money.
He just. It's like, it must be nice to create one of the biggest websites in the world. So they said if you combine the money that Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk made, they said 100 million Americans, if they gave that money away, 100 million Americans could get the $2,000 stimulus checks.
It's a lot of money and a lot of people.
Just saying. So I think it was like 14.6 billion they made this year together.
So, okay. What exactly does Elon Musk do? So he just creates stuff? Like the trucks and the car, the
Teslas, yeah. I think he's behind the PlayStation 1 car.
Sorry, what?
Okay, you don't know about it, but it's a truck, it's a car, but it looks so weird. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna show it to you.
Can you buy it?
You can buy it soon.
What soon? Oh God.
I just want to see if it.
And why is it called PlayStation Truck? I
call it the PS1 car.
Okay.
It's Elon Musk Cybertruck. It just that's the truck.
It looks fake.
Exactly, and it looks like a polygon from PlayStation 1 era.
Like really old, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it does. Okay, low polygons.
PS1 graphics truck. So
it's not what you call it; it's what they call it, and you call it what they call it. That's great. What year was that?
Tomb Raider? 96.
Is that when the PS1 came out?
Yes.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So
that's all.
so that's why we call that. But and also like there was an article he was talking about. He was trying to talk about this game, Deus Ex. I think I talked about it in the podcast as well. And he was trying to reference himself as the hero of the game. Okay. But people then were like, well, no, sir, you're more like the $1 billion villain because you guys share a lot of similarities. So, and then so I of course have to pick on him because the name is just it's a little crazy.
Is this his first child?
Yes, I feel. Well, look, he's gonna be. I think he said having kids is. I think I was reading a news article yesterday. He was like, it doesn't matter what time I had kids. I just want to have kids. Babies are awesome. Something like that.
How old is he?
I don't know. He's an older white man. He's all right.
Okay.
So the child's name. All right, I'm going to sound it out first. We'll do like what it is. So it's X, and then it's AE, but the AE is in Elven.
Elf language.
More on that soon. And then A-12. And then last name Musk. So they had to change it to X, the AE, and then Roman numeral is the A, the Roman numeral 12. Because in California, you can't have numbers in names. Because why the hell would you have a number in a name?
You know, in case you got Little Johnny number 1 and Little Johnny number 2. Because both the daddies is Johnny. It's 2 different Johns.
That's called John Jr.
No, it was a prostitute joke. John's.
How dare you? I should know about prostitutes. I work in hotels.
You should not say that so quickly about how you know about prostitutes because you work in a hotel.
Well, let me
Some
tell you.
people gonna take that the wrong way.
Let me tell you a story why I know. For 1 minute. So at my last hotel, Hyatt Place, me and the engineer, shout out to my man Hunter. Anytime we would see a woman in sunglasses when it was raining, and it's a Tuesday, and you're coming in at 12 p.m. to check into your room. But your room is a 1 king, and you want 2 queen beds, 1 for pleasure, 1 for time off. That's what it was for. We would be suspicious. He would go on to Backpage, and he would be able to quickly find.
Backpage?
Yeah.
What's Backpage?
Where you find the prostitutes and stuff.
It's a website called Backpage?
Yeah. He would look it up by location, King of Prussia. He would go through, look for the picture, boom, you find it. He was like, I'm not judging. But my man was like batting 100. And we would always find it. He would call the cops, and we would wait for the Johns to come in, and the cops would be right by the elevator. It was like Dateline. Hey, what are you doing here?
Y'all dancing? These men?
I didn't think about it till now.
Y'all Chris?
We damn sure did.
My God.
But so that's how I know about prostitutes and prostitution and hotels. So,
and that's how I know about prostitutes.
And I would always just be saying,
the more you know.
You can always tell the Johns coming in because they were all coming all shady, just like don't make eye contact with you. And you know how close the front desk was to the front doors when I used to work at.
Yeah,
it's way different now. But like when you first come in, I'm like I look up because you hear the doors.
Right.
So I'm like this to you. Hi, how are you? And it's like. Keep walking. You
can't have sex with a prostitute.
Yo, what room the prostitute in? So
that's less suspicious.
This guy's not here for the prostitution cops. He's definitely legit.
So wait, you had the cops camped out by the elevator?
They were, so you know that where the lobby area was. They had like this couch and everything. So the cops would be over there, and then a John would come in. And they would see it because obviously you could tell it's suspicious. And the cop would get up and just walk over to him to go up the elevator with him, and they would go from the same time. And he would just confirm that he went to that room.
Okay.
You can't just assume somebody,
Right.
Then you come out and say, "Hey, what are you doing? What's going on?" They get him like that. I don't think they ever arrested those guys, but the Johns they would just like pull them aside, saying, "Hey, we know, warning," because
warning.
And then once you figure they out, they're doing it. We kick them out the hotel.
Wow. So what about now, Sinesta?
I have not seen. I had suspicions like a few weeks ago.
Okay.
But there's nothing I can do. Really, and you need a key to get up on our floor anyway.
Okay.
But there was a few girls actually in November that didn't speak any English. They had their I believe their pimp call.
That might be human trafficking.
Exactly. I don't 100% know, but I don't have any real proof that they were actually servicing men. or people or anything.
What about being human trafficked?
I don't.
Do you know the signs? Did they teach you guys the signs?
We had a class on that in 2018. Ooh.
2018.
What year is it? Well, the hotel industry failed in 2020.
I don't want to hear that crap. It opened back up.
That's true. I'm gonna be more cognitive to that.
You should. You could save some lives.
They could.
Yeah.
They won't. The girl thought she. There might have been. I'll talk about that after the podcast.
You aided in human trafficking.
I did not aid. I didn't check him in.
That makes
Back to the Elon Musk child's name. So Grimes went on Twitter.
How do we get there?
Exactly. Because prostitution in hotels. I don't even know.
Okay.
I'll read the episode back and figure it out. So Grimes explained the name. So X is the unknown variable.
All right.
AI, which is her Elven name. My Elven spelling of AI, for their love for artificial intelligence.
Her Elven spelling?
Yes.
Okay.
So if anybody's gonna do an iRobot situation, it's gonna be from Elon Musk. A12 is a precursor to SR-71, which is their favorite aircraft. If there's no weapons, no defense, it's just speed. It's great in battle, plus it's non-violent. And also,
so how is it great in battle if it's non-violent? What does it do?
Because it runs. And then also the A stands for Archangel, which was her favorite song. So it's basically like you got a whole bunch of things from the streets right now. For people who are not watching.
I don't understand.
Basically, she took things that she liked and just put it all together. And Elon was like, I remember in an interview, she's like, "Oh yeah, she's great at naming. She's great at names." But is she?
And how do you pronounce this child's name?
So it is XAI-A12. There could never be... Musk, I'm sorry. There could never be a more supervillain name than this.
Supervillain robotic name.
Robot. I'm telling you, he's going to lead the robot revolution.
How do we know this isn't a robot?
We're going to get shut down so quickly. You ever see those memes where it's like, wait, this is how we get sidetracked. I think of my stuff. It was like, I forget what it said. Oh my god! But it was like they said something so ridiculously like obvious, and then it was like you saw like on the phone it said Harvard, and it said, "Nigga, you want to stick our scholarship?" I gotta find the meme. Do you know? I'm looking at it.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna type it on Google.
Nigga, you want eggs?
Excuse me for the N word. That's what I'm like. I just want to see if I can find it on.
My ear is like doing this throbbing thing.
Oh, so here it is. Right?
Right? 80 to 100 words. 80 to 100 words. That's great.
There's also one where like the Illuminati will come in as well. They'll say something obvious like that, and then it's like the Illuminati says, "Don't you effing move." Anyway.
That reminds me, I saw a meme, it was like, write 5 words that you can spell, and it was 5 words you can spell.
And it's like, see me after class. But was I wrong?
I think it was like, very clever, and she gave him an A. That's amazing.
I saw one, I think I saw the same one, and it's like F, and then it was like Hannibal Barris's face, and it said, "But am I wrong?" Yes.
I hate his face. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you have a problem with him because of the Bill Cosby thing.
Not just that, but I really don't like his face.
Yeah, he has a weird, like a. I don't know.
Especially when he takes his glasses off.
Yeah.
Oh. You think you're sexy?
Put him back on.
That's not it.
Put him back on. So that's Elon Musk is another child's name.
Take it off. Put it back on. Put it back on.
So that kid's gonna have problems probably growing up, but that's not.
No,
mine.
it won't.
Well,
Rich people's problems.
Daddy, I want my robot now. That's the biggest problem.
I don't want 2 robot brothers for Christmas. I wanted 3 robot brothers for Christmas.
Get it together, Elon.
And a robot dog. Yeah, because no dad.
Calm down, X AI A12. Next, we're gonna talk about the worst story for me in 2020. These dang murder hornets. Again, I remember it was like I think I put it on there, but I saw something that said I feel like God was just having fun with a world ender generator. First he had corona, and then it was just like, what do I get now?
Oh God!
Because the two words are already bad by themselves. So murder by itself is horrible. And when I think about hornets, that's pretty bad. Let's put them together. Effing murder hornets.
You hear about people making pet bees or pet wasps or something like that? They like trap a bee or a wasp or something, put it in the freezer to make it go to sleep. Make it go to sleep. I kid you not.
I'm lightheaded.
I kid you not.
Right,
make it go to sleep, and then when it's asleep, you take it out and you tie dental floss around it, and then it wakes up and it tries to fly away, but it can't because you got a leash on it.
That's horrible.
And it's your pet bee or wasp or murder hornet or whatever.
That's called slavery. I'm literally about to pass out. Make it go to sleep.
Your eyes.
I'm crying.
Hey, go to sleep.
Oh my god. Okay, so murder hornets.
Sorry. Murder hornets.
I'm really crying.
Ooh.
So singular hornets were found throughout 2020, and they are mostly in Washington. So you can see like one hornet here.
State?
Washington State, yeah, I'm
okay.
sorry. You can see like one hornet here, one hornet there, blah, blah, blah. But then they finally found a nest on October 23rd in Blaine, Washington. It was eradicated the next day, and also included the discovery and removal of about 100 hornets. After more research, they determined that the nest had contained about 500 live specimens and about 200 queens. So them things are really, they were like,
they're here to stay.
They were setting up shop, and a lot of people were scared because if they can overtake the bee population, because that's what they do, and then that's going to be the rat for bees.
Because bees are endangered, right?
Yeah. So that's why they were like, they gotta die. Philadelphia or Pennsylvania had an outbreak really of the spiral lanternflies, which I completely forgot about until just this moment in time.
That's because they went away for the winter, but they'll be back.
But yeah, those things were everywhere. I remember I went back to work, and 16th and Market, they have it's a large building right there. Mm-hmm. They were like hundreds of them, like just outside the door. What's the door called?
I don't know.
The turn door.
Okay.
And they had people out there just like
killing,
like swooping them up. I was like, yo, what's the job title for
How
this?
much?
He said, that's one of the biggest job titles of 2020 for Pennsylvania. Spotted lanternfly killer.
I would do that job. Remember how I said I've been looking for a
job? I
would do a job. I would do that. Oh. I would go outside and I would kill lanternflies for money.
Oh. An adult murder hornet, or they're not really called murder. I think that they just kind of give them that name.
Murder hornet.
I think it's like they're called like giant Asian wasp, something like that.
Murder hornet.
Murder hornet is a better name. It clicks better. You know, it's like, you know, you have like a regular name, then you have a superhero name. You know, that's a superhero name. Murder hornet just flows off.
Super villain name.
Yeah, it's a better off the tongue. But that's scary.
Yeah.
When they first said murder hornets this year, I was like, oh, here we go. Because I think in January it was the fires, and then February was like Corona was coming. Like, hey,
yeah,
hi,
you heard about this new virus?
I'm here. And then it was like March was like, hey, have you heard about murder hornets? And I was just like, can we just stop the year? Like, I feel like there's too much already, and little did I know there was more to come. Yeah. But wait,
there's more.
Billy Mays. But murder hornets were like very scary to me this year. I can't think of anything. Again, murder and hornets. And of course,
but you didn't even come across any murder.
Thank God. Okay. They said their sting feels like fire.
It's like he's so ignorant. So freaking ignorant.
I told you this like 2 hours ago, sir.
He said, well, I'm back now.
Our cat, for those who can't see, just came and jumped up in my recording station and said, I'm going to make an effing bed right now.
This is what he do. This is another reason why staying at home with Zoom, he jump up on the table, his big furry butt in my face in the laptop.
It's like, hey, I'm here.
Right.
All right. How do you feel about murder hornets?
I don't know, because We didn't hear much about them. The only person I heard talk about murder hornets was you.
Another news story that got swiped under the rug in 2020.
I mean, I was more concerned about the spotted lanternflies, and I really can't believe you didn't put that on here.
I really forgot until just this moment.
Yeah, because I feel like it was like COVID and then spotted lanternflies. No, that's a lie. Spotted lanternflies I knew about since 2019. So I didn't know about spotted lanternflies until Delaware County. And I just thought, oh, these are pretty. Because they were like littered all over Delaware County, but they were dead. And I'm like, oh, why are they killing these pretty little, fly bug whatevers? And then I would see them on like above the doors when we walked in. Because one of the entrances to Delaware County is near this little lake, like man-made lake, whatever. So there's lots of things coming in and out of that lake. There's gophers, there's snakes, there's turtles, whatever. And the gophers are really cute. And the bunnies. And but there's like, they're just everywhere. So I thought, oh, maybe they just like the water or whatever, because they're not near the other entrances to the college. So I go in and I'm walking behind this girl, and I just see her. She's walking and she does this, and she does this, and I'm just like, what is she doing? And she sees me looking at her crazy, and she's like, kill them. They're bad for the environment. And I was like, oh, that's why they're littered and like they're they're smashed
genocide
into the concrete. So that's why. And then they started putting flyers up around school saying, if you see these, report it and kill them. And I'm just like, what?
I'm sorry, this cat's coming there.
Yeah, he's annoying, but you love him.
Yeah, but I get it. Like that was just like.
And then when I started going hiking, there's just like posters and everything everywhere. And then you sent me that picture. You remember? I think you took Chino outside for
yeah.
Because we started taking our cats outside. That even the cats got to get out.
Yeah, they were like, we're tired.
And then you took a picture of this bug and you sent it to me. I was up here laying down. And you're like, "What is this?" Because you said it was walking sideways.
Yeah, it was walking sideways. I was so creeped out.
So, and then you looked it up and you're like, what's a spotted lanternfly? And I was like, kill it! But it was long gone.
He's like, good. Good. He doesn't know what I am.
And then I took my nieces to the park. Remember that park you and I walked in by the Barclays, whatever it's called? Mm-hmm. So I took my nieces over there and they're on the swings, whatever. And then we started walking and we couldn't even, I couldn't get them through. There's this little bridge by this little creek thing. I couldn't even get them through. There were so many. And Layla, my niece Layla, was just freaking out. But Zakiya was killing. She's so funny. She was killing them.
She said, "Let's go."
She was smashing them with her phone. And Layla just was like not having it. So we had to turn around. But they were everywhere. It was like gross. They were everywhere over there.
Yeah. So spotted lanternflies was more obviously because that was Philadelphia.
And then when I went to Westchester to give out tours, oh my god,
everywhere,
especially during the summer when it was really hot. I guess the heat just makes them really bold because they're flying on people and
they don't care.
They do not care. They're flying on people. They're flying in your cars. They're flying in the windows. They were littered on the sides of the residential buildings, and it was I could see it was a turnoff to some of the people who were taking tours. And I don't like that because that's my job. I want to do my job right, and I want everybody and everything to be right on my, when I'm doing my job. And even though I have no control over how the residence buildings look, right. So I'm like, oh man, this is not good. This is not a good look for us. But there were some times where I would just make a game out of it. Like, okay, so we're going to take a tour, and as we're walking, we're going to play a little game and see who can kill the most lanternflies because they were everywhere. They were on the side of the residential dorms, on the business building, which is also dubbed the penis building. You should see it. It looks like a penis. Nobody thought about the design of this building when it was being built.
Somebody thought about it.
It literally looks like a penis. Some testicles. Anyway, but they love that building. They're littered on that building. They're everywhere on campus. So
hilarious.
Yeah.
So spotted lanternflies and murder hornets just made their debut in 20. Well, I mean, they've always been around. Well, not always, but they've been around before 2020. But their coming out party was 2020.
Yeah.
Next, I think was another story that would have been number one if for Corona. It's mother effing aliens. I'm gonna say this: UFOs, space, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the Pentagon released videos of UFOs in April. And in July of 2020, excuse me. And they were it's not like like UFOs, like like when we think of UFOs, like the circular
Saucers.
disc, the saucers like that. But they were like the guy who saw it was like when he saw it, it was like nothing he's ever seen before. It was nothing that he's seen that the U.S. has that are flying. Or anything foreign he knows of, so like anything overseas. It was like he said it was like zipping, like in like.
Oh.
And he says that he never.
Yeah, we don't got nothing that zip.
Nothing.
We got stuff that glide and fly.
Yeah, he would say it was zipping in the air.
Ooh, it was zipping.
Yeah, so it says it shows what appears to be unidentified flying objects, UFOs, rapidly moving while recorded by infrared cameras. 2 of the videos contain service members reflecting on how quickly they were moving. One voice speculates that it could be a drone, so that could be another thing. But drone,
drones don't zip.
Exactly. So, then my favorite thing about December, there was a claim that Galactic Federation of Aliens has been came to be known in 2020. When I read this story, I was like, okay, 2020 is going to go out to a bang. The aliens are coming to the 31st. They're saying, guess what? 2020 is our year. all 2021 is all big wins for your boys, the aliens.
Y'all know how to treat the planet right. We gotta come down here.
We're gonna take it.
I saw this meme and it was like, yo, the aliens probably lock their doors when they drive by Earth.
They said that. Oh, Earth, man, what's that? Close the door.
Put the window up. Don't make eye contact.
What is wrong with you? So a former head of Israeli space defense, his name was Ashed, he said the cooperation agreements have been signed between species, including an underground base in the depths of Mars, where there are American astronauts and alien representatives. So, again, now I had to put a disclaimer on this. That this man is now, I think he's 85, between the 85 and 88. So as you get older, your depictions of things are less regarded. Or what?
Or he's telling the complete truth, and I knew it all along.
That's what I want to believe, because it's the United States of space. Dave Chappelle. So there's an agreement between the U.S. government and the aliens. They signed a contract with us to do experiments here, which sounds frightening right out of a...
That's probably what the monoliths were about.
I didn't put that on here, but the monoliths were a big thing in 2020. Just random big things that statues just found in weird places. One of the ones found like near Arizona in the Grand Canyon or something like that. But the funny thing about this was that he said the gentleman said that the President Donald Trump was aware of the aliens' existence and had been on the verge of revealing information.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
So that definitely sounds... His credibility shot up right 100% right then when he said that, because I felt like, yeah, Trump was going to be like, but guess what? Aliens. It's going to be huge.
Did you hear? Did you hear about the aliens, guys? We got some people on Mars. They're underground. And they're doing just fine, folks. They're doing just fine.
There's water up there. We're going to mine it.
And you know what I told those aliens? With their big, stupid green faces.
Oh, that's when all the technology just goes. This turns off. Go.
But here's the thing: he didn't want to cause mass hysteria about COVID, so he didn't tell people. He didn't tell us that it was going to be like really bad. But he was about to tell us about the freaking aliens. Pick and choose.
I feel like Trump would have said something about aliens. I think it's something that kind of would have slipped out. See, Obama held it in so well that his hair turned from black to gray by the time his term was over. So he was just like, that's what happened to him.
God, I would love to just be like, all right, Obama, tell me the secret.
I told you that's what I really want to be. I was going to be president. First president. That's the first thing I want to do.
Tell me all the secrets.
Like, inauguration of right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Aliens.
So what do you do about... Shut up. I'm the president. I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak to you as a lesser than person. I want all information about aliens. I want you to get on the phone with their commander now. I want to
take me to the aliens now.
I want to see his face. See their faces. What are you talking about, Mr. President? You know what I'm talking about. Aliens.
And then your head of the Secret Service is like, well, sir, and his face morphs. I'm the alien. I'm the commander.
See, my main thing is I don't want... I was talking to a security guard about this the other day. And it's probably going to be because that's how my fear is. I don't want any octopusy aliens or like spider aliens. And I feel like those two things are out there.
Why do you think you get to choose?
Exactly. And
like Cthulhu when you say octopus?
Cthulhu, yes! Cthulhu. I want no love.
No Cthulhu's.
No Cthulhu's.
And no spiders.
That's the two things I'm just going. It's a no go for me, bro. And I knew that, like, cause like that Lovecraft stuff, like all of his, cause it's other things besides Cthulhu.
Yeah.
But a lot of, like, Octopussy. He did a lot of stuff with tentacles. I don't know what that was all about.
Maybe he likes tentacles. Tentacles are very interesting.
Very.
And delicious. You ever had squid?
Fried calamari.
No, you gotta have some pan-fried squid tentacles. It's really good.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Or octopus.
But yeah, I feel like if there were no corona, there was no murders of
no election,
unarmed black people, there was no election.
If 2020 just didn't happen, except for aliens,
I think aliens would have been a really, really big news story this year. But again, nobody talking about it. I'm the only person talking about it.
Yeah, you and Kemma.
I feel like it's interesting. I love the idea of other beings in space because I feel like we are believers of God. Mm-hmm. God is so powerful and rich and everything. Do you think humans is the only species out there?
Absolutely not.
There's no way.
I've always said I think it's really, really selfish to think that we are the only beings in the universe.
Right.
Like,
I just want to see what that's all about because again, I'm a huge fan of just sci-fi and everything and robots, and it's like, what's the next step? We're getting so close. I feel like we're like flirting with the idea of like technologies moving forward. I don't know if I was telling you about this, but I feel like technology like really jumped forward in the 90s. And I could be saying that because I lived in the 90s and I experienced it, but I don't feel like from the 60s to the 70s there was like a huge jump in technology, or like 70s to the 80s. I felt like between the 90s to the 2000s there was such a massive like increase in technology. Like talking about like into cell phones, like getting smaller. Okay,
I'll say it was massive. It was so big it makes everything else look small.
Okay. Maybe that's what it is.
All right. Because there were some advances in those years, just not as big as what you're talking.
The aliens weren't around this shit. They came in the 90s.
Who was it?
The aliens. They weren't around just until the 90s.
How do you know?
They were like, here you go.
How do you know? Because according to the lore, aliens are the ones who built them pyramids.
The lore. That's true. Maybe they built the pyramids and left.
It was like, yeah, y'all are.
They were like, you see this? This is called PlayStation. There you go. Your kids will be engulfed in that for the next.
Sorry.
Will be engulfed in that for the next
PlayStation.
3 decades.
Really? Just PlayStation? How about this is called fire? How about that? Or this is what electricity
fire?
is. I don't know. You went straight to PlayStation.
That's most important.
Like that's just random.
That's
not most important. That's random.
It's not random.
That is very random.
It's a foreign technology. Okay. All right. Okay. Also, they discovered water on the moon, the dark side of the moon. So that's pretty awesome.
So the moon doesn't rotate?
I don't know.
Does the moon have an axis? It's your favorite thing to talk about, but you don't know much about it.
I don't know about the
Are you kidding me?
I don't know how they determine things aren't planets. It says Pluto's still just back there chilling, like not being a planet.
Pluto's a planet. I don't care.
Oh, they said it's not.
Dear NASA, your mom thought it was big enough. Love Pluto.
Oh!
I didn't come up with that,
I know you did, but it's still
my
good.
favorite.
It's still good. But aliens, man, I'm ready. Just no squid Cthulhu's and no spiders.
You don't get to choose.
I don't care if you got two or three heads, but it better not be no spider heads. 2020 also included the presidential election, and I feel like it was. I feel like it was the biggest election of my lifetime so far to this point. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Obama. Who did he go against in 20?
Wow, it don't even matter to you, huh?
It doesn't.
The first time or the second time?
I remember the second time with Mitt Romney.
It was McCain.
Thank
the first
you.
time. He passed away, yes.
Oh, see, that's that alarm. But I feel like there was so much tension in 2020.
This may have been the biggest election of our lives thus far. It's like Trump and Biden, and then it's like Gore and Bush.
Oh, Gore and Bush was pretty big.
That was humongous. Yeah. I didn't. That was my introduction to politics. I didn't know anything until Gore and Bush.
But
we even had a vote in elementary school, and we thought we was doing something because Gore won. We thought we was doing something. We didn't know that we couldn't vote. We thought that was like our vote.
We did that. That's kind of how votes are right now, isn't it? But yeah, because of the corona restrictions and mail-in ballots were such a big thing. I remember on Tuesday election night, it was like everybody was looking like, "Oh, Trump's definitely gonna pull it off."
Yeah.
And it was like, well, wait a second, we didn't even count like the mail-in ballots.
I know. I definitely went to sleep Tuesday thinking, oh man,
Yeah.
Trump's gonna get a second.
Yeah, and then the mail-in ballots came in.
Have you noticed that for the past 2 elections, you're the one who told me the results, and I'm just waking up?
Yeah. Well, because I woke up the 2016 election, I was back when I was working at Hyatt.
Yeah.
I remember that day so clearly. Just waking up to seeing that news on CNN. I told you left, and then like the train.
He told me and just left. Literally, at last thing he said, and then you shut the door.
Trump won the presidency. Bye. Love you. Life's over as we know it. And then the train I would take at 4:20 in the morning, which was pretty packed because a lot of people had to go to work. I think a lot of people worked at the same spot because they would get off at like Villanova Station. So that train, like that day, the hottest topic. Everybody was talking about it. Then at work, everybody was talking about it because of course CNN was on. And then I got on the 123 coming home that day. Never forget. There was a woman crying on the bus because Trump won.
Oh.
But the black guy, you probably know the type of driver, the bald headed guy, light skinned guy. He talks to everybody. I feel like if you would have seen him, you'd be like, oh yeah.
Glasses?
No.
Okay, I don't.
But I guarantee if I was like, yo, where my man? I think his name was maybe Bruce.
Okay.
Anyway, but if you see him, you'd be like, oh, I know him. But he was like, oh no, just give Trump a chance, you know?
I felt like that for like a day. I was like, all right, maybe it's not as bad. Because, you know, people say what they got to say to get into office. They've been doing that since the whole time.
Right.
So I was like, maybe that's what this is. And then I was like, because you were the one who started that. You're the first person I heard to say that. You're like, give my man a chance. And I was like, all right, you might be right. And
the chance ran out.
And then
it's like a video game. You get 3 chances, 3 lives.
I didn't give him 3 though.
You may get extra lives, but you have to do things to get to extra lives.
Yeah.
Trump got an extra life when he gave us what he tried to do to $2,000. That was like his last life. He was already out the door, but he did that to be a jerk. But anyway, the first week of November was all talking about the election. I feel like every day I was checking because I find the Electoral College and how to get the votes is the most video gamey thing that America does.
Yeah, they need to abolish the Electoral College.
It's just like, turn this thing blue, turn it red. And again, a lot was red. And even like Pennsylvania, we were like, let people voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And then like...
I couldn't believe that. I didn't even know until they started talking about this election that Trump won Pennsylvania. I didn't know that. I'm like, we've been blue for so long. We've never been a, what do you call it? The swing state?
Yeah.
In my life, I don't remember Pennsylvania being a swing state. I remember Pennsylvania always being blue. Mm. I knew that we had our red spots, but I always remember Pennsylvania being blue. Right, so when they were like, oh yeah, Pennsylvania is going to be the state to look at. I said, why?
For what reason?
We're always blue. And I remember thinking, like, Trump needs to keep Pennsylvania's name out of his mouth. He don't know us. But he won. I couldn't believe it.
And then,
I was like, what?
Like I said, it was red for a while, and then like Thursday night, it was getting Pennsylvania. He was inching. Biden was inching a little bit closer, and then Friday night the Philly vote started coming in, and then Gritty said, "Hey, hit Donald Trump, my man, with a steel chair, put Biden over his body, count the 1, 2, 3, and then Saturday morning, everybody started declaring Biden was the projected winner.
Yes.
So Mr. Biden will become the 46th president, Lord willing, all things in office, January 20th.
All he needs to do is make it to inauguration. That's it. And then President Harris.
That 2020 thing was horrible. But I'm really looking forward to seeing like salty Trump. There's nothing better than like
salty
Trump.
Okay, I thought you said Saudi, like Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's even better. Salty Trump when he's like, is he going to do what Obama did? Is he going to be there shaking hands like, here you go, like the position of power, like the transition? That's my whole thing. Because when you gotta give it up,
right?
Is he going to be able to do that? I'm definitely gonna be, I don't care if I'm at work or am I here. I'm going to be watching that. Now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be watching.
I want to see his salty behind. I'm still looking forward to that.
Can you talk about the debate?
How they just freaking the first one they just talking over each other, just like
awful.
Just not. It was like 2 old white men who don't have.
It literally gave me vibes of when I worked in the retirement home, like for real. And it's so funny because there was always this group of guys, and they swore, like, their mind never left the 1950s, first off. Mm-hmm. So they always and all the help staff was, like, people of color, mainly black. So they always treated us with, like, disrespect.
Right.
And then they always had this table, like, segregation was their jam. And Jim Crow was the DJ, and they loved him. So they always had this table. Nobody could sit at their table. Nobody could, like, look at their table. Women were not allowed. So that's what it reminded me of. Like, if a new resident would come in and dare to sit at their table, because it was a good table in a good spot, and someone dared to sit at their table, that's it. We didn't hear the end of it for the whole meal, for the whole day. And then, like, they would get there early, show up early, make sure nobody was, like, it was ridiculous. That's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of them. Like, Biden was a new guy who dared to sit at Trump's table, and then Trump comes and he's like, we've been sitting at this table since we got here. Me and the guys, we've been sitting at this table, and like, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, oh my God. It literally gave me the feels. Like, I was starting to get stressed out watching them.
I didn't watch it. The first time I saw something from the debate was when we watched Death 2020, because I heard so much about it.
Seriously?
Yeah, I didn't see it because I couldn't stomach it. I hate when people talk over one another.
Yeah.
I hate that. Just like I have a thought, you have a thought. Mm-hmm. We both have to say it at the same time. Very annoying to me. And of course, the vice president, I'm gonna say debut. Debate.
I watched that live.
Pence and Harris, and she just put him in his spot. And,
I'm talking.
And Black Twitter was you better talk, Queen. You better talk.
Or the fly.
Yeah.
So, like, that's all the vice president debate was about. Kamala and the fly. Nobody cared. It's like Pence. You could have just stayed home.
I think Tony Baker made fun of me. This is the best piece of BS I've been on before. I was like, that's great. But yep. What a wild 2020 presidential season. Now again, let's see what Biden does, and he's again. I'm really not a fan of older people in office like that, because it's like.
But older white men been in office
forever
since the dawn of time.
It's just like, are people in their 40s cannot be in office?
See, you got to start off low. When Biden started, he was in his 40s. And now he's 800 years old and he made it to president. That's how it starts.
Well, let's hope AOC doesn't wait that long.
Well, but look, she's in her 20s, right? And she's on the bottom level, though.
She's in her 20s, so she's not 30 yet?
She may be 30 now.
I looked it up. Yeah, she's an 89 baby.
Okay, so yeah, so she's in her early 30s. And she can't even run for president yet. So, yeah. So when she was running for, she's in Congress, right? The House?
Yeah, she's a very prominent role.
Okay, so when she was running for the House, I think she was like 28 when she won, so she was probably like 27 or so. So she probably just got out of college and went straight into it. So that's what a lot of people do. They become lobbyists. They go to Washington. They do this. They do that, and you have to work your way up, and it's a long process. Thank you, one semester of political science class.
Wow.
That I hated. I got to be in it, and that professor. I hope I never see her walking down the street.
Well, I do hope that eventually she comes up, and Andrew Yang, because I just like the fact that he called out WWE and their crap.
I like the fact that he has a plan for robocalls. I would have voted for him. I would have.
So I hope if after Biden leaves, and if the next president is Biden gets his 8 years, and then the next Democratic person up next is Andrew Yang, because Bernie Sanders will probably be dead.
Well, hold on. It might be Miss Harris, because
it could be.
It's very common for vice presidents
to
run and to win.
Well, let's see. Maybe Sarah or Yang or something like that, because we know by the time 8 years, Sanders and Biden will both probably be going.
Sanders. I would have voted for him, most definitely.
I just like to see. I'm a person that like.
I don't understand how he likes
people to. Good people in the roles because it's stressful.
It's stressful
as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you saw what happened to Obama's hair. I'll never forget that inauguration. My man had a full. That joke was black and black. And then when he got reelected, mm-hmm. It was like a little gray. And then,
however, how do you know that he wasn't coloring his hair and then he just stopped? How do you know?
Because I know the stress. I know how stress is. I had a full.
What gray hairs do you have, huh?
None, because I have none.
Well, we're not talking about bald. We're talking about gray. I have a solo patch growing out here. Freaking weeds.
At least you have hair. All right. As we end this episode, we're going to now talk about all the celebrities that people in entertainment and media that we've lost in 2020. It's buckle up. It's been a tough year. So I had updated this basically when it happened, but John Harbour, known as To the World of Wrestling, and Luke Harper and Brody Lee, he passed on the 26th of December of a lung issue. It was only 41. Tommy Lister, also known as Tiny, and he was in the Friday movies, and he also did a stint in wrestling. I don't know if you know this, in the 80s.
Okay.
As Zeus, he actually wrestled Hulk Hogan in the main event of a SummerSlam.
Really? Good for him.
So he passed. He was in his 60s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie Dressel Reed, she played in I don't want to get it wrong. I believe it was the Parkers.
Was she Andell?
Maybe she played. I think she played in one of those. In one of the UPN.
Was she in the Parkers and Moesha?
It might be Moesha.
Well, it's a spinoff, and she was in both of them. If it's her.
Okay, but yeah, I believe she had either colon cancer. Oh. She had a battle with that she unfortunately lost. Alex Trebek, of course, he announced that he had cancer a few years ago. He lost his battle in 2020. Ken Spears, who was one of the co-creators of Scooby Doo, he passed. The late great Sean Connery unfortunately passed this year at 90 years old. Sean Connery was somebody I was just getting to know, like in acting. Obviously, which show was it? Did I get it wrong? How wrong did I get it?
Did you get it wrong? She was neither in Moesha or
which show was it?
Parker's.
What show was it?
She was on Eve.
Eve.
You're the worst.
I said it was a UPN show.
But you're the worst.
I really am.
How dare you? I still think that Andell is passed away though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Sean Connery. Again, back to that. I'm sorry. Sean Connery was one of those. We had just watched like all Peter Bonds, and we were just talking about. I said, how old is Sean Connery? And we were just like, he was getting up there. I said, please don't let 2020 take him.
He's a decades baby, so he was 90.
Yeah. So his birthday was just in August, I believe. So, and he died. I think on Halloween Day. Eddie Van Halen of Van Halen's fame passed away. Johnny Nash, who was most famous for one of the songs, "I Can See Clearly Now."
The rain is gone.
Yeah. Margaret Nolan, who was the masseuse in gold that got turned into gold.
Yeah.
She passed. Jackie Stallone, which is Sylvester Stallone's mother. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was one of the biggest names in politics. Second woman to serve on the Supreme Court.
Do you know who the first woman was?
Why would I know that? That's like saying, "Hey, Robyn, do you know who the first WWE champion was, or the second one?" Like, come on, I'm in my.
Wow.
Who's the first one?
Because wait, no, you're saying that wrestling. You're saying that wrestling.
That's in my repertoire of things I would know. The things in repertoire you would know would be in politics and things like that because you are knowledgeable in that. I'm not. I'd look up all my information. I know what I said. I didn't insult you.
Yeah, you insulted them. Like, why would I know that?
I don't know.
Why would I care? That's what it sounds like.
What are things I know, Robyn? Name some things I know.
Nothing.
Okay. Anyway.
Sandra Day O'Connor.
Wouldn't know that. There's no way.
Does the name even sound familiar?
It sounds familiar, but if I was on Jeopardy, if I had all the riches in the world on the line, we'd never gotten that. Georgia,
what did they teach you in school?
Nothing. Race. What was that? Georgia Dobbins, who was one of the singers for "Please, Mr. Postman" as part of the Marvelettes.
Do you even know that song? I
do know that song.
Sing it.
I'm not going to sing it because copyright issues.
Sing it. Then hum it.
I will not hum anything.
You don't know it. You really don't know it.
I get them mixed up.
With what? With what?
Mr. Sandman.
It's taking all my power not to reach across and punch you.
You can punch me.
No.
Diana Riggs, who was Bond's wife on The Majesty's Secret Service, she played Tracy. I believe that was her name. She passed in one of the best Bond movies that nobody talks about. Chadwick Boseman unfortunately passed this year. One of the biggest. That was back in August. Yeah. Biggest shocker to not only superhero fans, but also to the black community, people in general.
It was a shock to everybody.
Because it's just one of those, again, people who you didn't know was going through something. And he just he handled it with grace, and then unfortunately it passed. Mm-hmm. Regis Philbin, I forgot he passed this way, but he was attached to me as a young person because I watched game shows with my mom growing up, mm-hmm. and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was one of the biggest things I watched. Like, it was such a big event. They had it on like every night, mm-hmm. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, prime time, and I would always watch it like with my mom. And Regis was great in that show.
I love Regis.
I have a lot of good memories about that. So, fortunately, he passed in 2020. Peter Green of Fleetwood Mac passed away this year as well. Nyla Rivera, she was on Glee. Did I get that right at least?
And what else?
That's all I know her from.
Family Matters.
I didn't know she was Family Matters.
Girlfriends. Well, she got started on Girlfriends.
No. I just knew that. What would you say her biggest name to claim is?
What?
Her biggest fame? Name to fame? What's the biggest thing she's known for?
Claim to fame.
Okay, thank you. What is it?
Glee.
Okay. That whole situation with her was man.
Yeah, heartbreaking.
I hated it. Kelly Preston, which was John Travolta's wife, passed this year. Earl Cameron, which I didn't even know about this, but he was Britain's first big black movie star. So I guess anybody who came from the UK who is a person of color owes a great deal to him. Carl Reiner, who I feel like was always an old man in my time, he passed away this year.
Who is that?
I can't think of the movie he was been in. Hold on. When'd you see his face? Do you know his face?
I do. Ocean's 11 and 10 or was it Ocean's 11, 12, and 13?
Yes, they did the Ocean series.
Yeah.
So he passed this year. Another guy who I thought was old my whole life, Fred Willard, passed away. He was I hate these people. There are things that I should have wrote it down. I should have put it in my notes, but I know.
Hurry, it's getting dark. I'm disappearing.
Jerry Stiller, Ben Stiller's dad, who had a resurgence in the later years. He was on King of Queens, and he just was typecast as a mean old bitter Jewish man. Great roles, but he passed this year. Little Richard as well. Just I remember I was wondering why I saw a video online about him. I think he was like accepting an award, and I was like, that's why they were
remembering.
Yeah. Howard Finkel, a WWE announcer, passed this year. Pat Patterson, the first Intercontinental Champion, passed this year. Bill Withers, who sang great songs such as "Lean on Me" and "Ain't No Sunshine."
Love Bill Withers.
So he unfortunately passed. Kenny Rogers, who I really know from them impersonating him on Mad TV, by the great Will Sasso, but he passed this year. Same thing with James Lipton. Most of my knowledge from him comes from Mad TV, but inside the actor's studio, he passed this year. Jen Dubois. Willona on Good Times. She passed this year. Probably one of the first big deaths this year was the death of Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and actually everybody in the helicopter. That whole situation was a really dark note to start on 2020. And that was at the end of January, so we're already dealing with the Australian fires, and then Corona was just coming right on. It was just a really crap sandwich.
That was January, right?
It was happened the same day the Royal Rumble that year. I remember because
it was a Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we were having our class, and after class it was like, oh, Kobe died.
Yeah.
What do you mean Kobe died?
Kobe who?
Yeah.
Kobe beef.
Kobe beef. Rocky Johnson, The Rock's father, passed this year. I already said Pat Patterson, but the rest of them are just wrestlers. Bob Armstrong, Road Warrior Animal, part of the Legion of Doom. Kamala, Shaq Gaspar, they all passed this year. Shaq Gaspar unfortunately passed in wave currents, and they had a choice to either save him or his son. He told them to save his son.
Oh wow!
And just got taken by a current, and then they found his body a few days later.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
that's so sad.
So, yeah, 2020 has a lot of people.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I would like to also say who passed away was the gospel legend Rance Allen. if you don't know the song Something About the Name Jesus, which was, I believe, written and probably produced by Kirk Franklin, but everyone knows that Rance Allen was like the main person to like sing. His voice was so dynamic and very noticeable. Like that's all you hear is his voice all over the record. So yeah, he passed away too.
It was been a tough year in terms of death, and I feel like I hate to say like, oh, let's rank deaths, celebrity deaths by each year, but like this year I feel like there was a lot of people that I associated with either my childhood with or my adulthood. Like when I think of like people like Alex Trebek or Regis Philbin for game shows like growing up, like I didn't appreciate. I watched Who Wants to Be a Millionaire growing up. I didn't really appreciate Jeopardy until I got older, until like my late teens or my early 20s, and even like SNS stuff. Like during my break would be between like 7:00. I'd be like, oh, let me go watch Jeopardy. Like,
you old man.
Yeah, exactly. So like I was just really sad to hear about that, and of course for personally today, like Chadwick Boseman, that really hurt because and not obviously just because he was a Black Panther, but like I remember. You remember I had my whole doubts about Black Panther and why they were doing
you
that. You
always be doubting. It's
good to doubt because then you get to be surprised. But I just all the reasons they were doing it for, and obviously I'm right. They did it for that reason.
Most definitely, but it was good.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Like top three MCU movies of all time, and he's just a great actor in general. It was really sad. Then all the wrestlers that passed, it's just like obviously. As you get older and older, you know you're gonna see some of these guys go away, and I'm dreading the day that I'm here about either Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan, who are like the two pillars of like professional wrestlers pass, and I can't even imagine how they feel like to see most of their friends like go away. Like,
yeah, when you get to be that age, it's funny. I was thinking about that. Like we're at the age right now where a lot of our friends or just people we know are getting married and having children. So it's crazy how, like, with my mother, and I hate to say it like this, but it goes with the example. Yeah. My mother, a lot of her and her friends are, like, going through menopause. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, as you get older, it's like you get to that point where, a lot of your friends are dying off. Yeah. So, and I know we were talking about this in our women's group at church where Sister Denise, she was like, I'm at that age where a lot of my family is dying off. Mm-hmm. So it's like you always get to these stages, and it's kind of sad, like like how you're saying, like, oh man, Ric Flair, that's a lot of his friends are dying off, and it's like any day now he could be next.
Right. It's like, and I think the general message in closing, as you take from 2020, is don't take anything for granted ever. I think this year just showed that entirely because like things can just stop and start at the drop of a dime. Mm-hmm. You should take every day. Treat like it's your last. Mm-hmm. I talk about this all the time, but I had the biggest race of my life, like the same freaking in the same breath, like the same month, same breath of like us closing down, and it's just like things can change. Yeah. So just make sure you live your life, do what you want to do, and rest in peace to all those who passed. Not just celebrities, but like people who died from the coronavirus, all the people who were murdered by Black police brutality. Because there's others that we didn't even talk about besides George Floyd and Breonna Taylor.
Did you say Elijah McCain?
No, didn't even talk about that. So it's just like there is so much just disgusting things that happened in 2020. But get out. Oh, the 2020, get out. I'm calling it now. 2021, all victories, all good moments. Hopefully.
Lord willing. Yes.
And all movies come out as well. Not even on the same breath of it. But we're going to talk about that next time.
We got to hurry up.
I know. It's getting
I can't see myself.
I can see you. Oh.
Yeah. And I'm in front of this Black TV.
That's another episode of the Fatman Around Podcast. We're on all podcast channels. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify, Deezer. You know them all. Pandora, iHeartRadio, Amazon Audible. I always shock myself by naming these all off the top of my head.
Yeah, you're doing really good.
YouTube, we're on YouTube, Fatman and Robyn, all the videos. I recommend listening to the audio version for this one, because you won't be able to see us after a while.
No, you're fine.
Am I fine?
Because, Anyway.
I've been Marcus D. as a Fatman.
I've been Robyn.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week when we talk about 2021 movies that should be coming out.
Oh my God, you're jizzing your pants already.
Spider-Man 3, baby! Thank you so much. We'll see you again.
Corona said, hold my beer.
Don't do it. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
I think I just...